Hello again, this is Danny here, and welcome to another installment of It Takes a Village. So let's get right to the wonderful, exciting world of egg retrievals, particularly the medications involved. So I talked a bit before about egg retrievals, and if I'm being honest, it really is a complicated process, and I don't pretend that I'm an expert on all the medications and what they do, but I can at least give you a layman's explanation as far as I understand things. So here goes. I'm going to talk about the medications I personally use since I have experience with them, but everyone has different protocols for different reasons. I have the one I have because of endometriosis and because of low ovarian reserve, so I don't have as many eggs as someone my age typically would. Like I mentioned in my last video, I started on the birth control pill. Typically you're on it anywhere from 5 to 21 days, and then you stop. And they wait for your cycle to start. For me, once my cycle started, they wanted to monitor me until I ovulated, and then I started a medication called Lupron. The point of this is to suppress your ovaries a bit before you start, and it's called downregulating. Ovaries contain thousands of follicles, which contain an immature egg, or oocyte. Because in IVF we want the body to produce more than one egg, downregulating suppresses the ovaries so that you are less likely to have a dominant follicle pop up, so your follicles will grow a lot more evenly. So Lupron is one of those injections that will suppress your ovaries, and I started these injections, 20 units, 7 days past ovulation, until I was starting my stim medication, which was on day 3 of that next period. On that day, they actually put me down to 10 units of Lupron instead of 20. Why this change? Well, the funny thing about Lupron is that while at higher doses it suppresses the follicle stimulating hormone, at lower doses it actually does the opposite, so it helps your body produce more follicle stimulating hormone in addition to the external hormones you'll be injecting during your stim cycle. So for poor responders like me, this often results in retrieving more mature eggs in the end. Cool, huh? I also take several follicle stimulating hormones. The first is this little guy. This is a Gonal F pen, and while it's super easy to use, one of these guys costs about $1,000. And one of these pens is 3 doses for me, so that's 3 days of stimulation, 3 days of injections. It's essentially the same as the naturally occurring hormone that stimulates the eggs to grow and mature, which is also really important. So all you do is you twist the base. You have this little number that goes up. It's probably a little hard to see because my camera won't focus on it. Anyways, it has a number. This number indicates the dose. So usually I was on 300 units. And yeah, it's really easy. You just put the little needle cap on the top, twist it on, and then it's just point and shoot. So the next medication I take is Menopur, which comes with a little liquid and a little powder. I would say Menopur is the most complicated to inject, simply because it's like a little science experiment. If you can refer to the video where I actually show you the injections as I'm doing them, you'll see what I mean, because you have to basically pull up some liquid, inject it into the powder, and I had to take 150 units, and one of these is just 75 units, so it's 2 powders. All of the injections are subcutaneous, which is just below the skin. So you just have to pinch a little bit around your stomach, typically, and they don't really hurt going in, but Menopur is one of those that burns. And that's probably the medication that gave me the most bruising. But Menopur helps stimulate the follicles as well as the luteinizing hormone, which is a hormone that works in tandem with follicle stimulating hormone to help the follicles to grow. Both are needed for follicular development and help mature the eggs. Last but not least is usually Cetrotide. I ended up not needing the Cetrotide this cycle because the Lupron was enough to keep me from ovulating, but usually the Cetrotide starts later in the cycle. I think the last time it was around day 9. And you want to have this because you don't want to ovulate early. If you end up with a dominant follicle, your body might be like, whoa, it is go time, it's gonna surge the luteinizing hormone, and that's gonna trigger ovulation, which you don't want because you want to save all of those eggs for your retrieval. So this keeps you from ovulating, and it gives your follicles time to catch up, to mature, to get to a proper size so that you can trigger later. So that not only allows follicles more time to grow, but it also gives the doctor more control over your cycle, and they can precisely plan when you will ovulate, and they use that to schedule the perfect time to go in and yoink those eggs. So that's pretty much it for the injectables of the stim cycle. I can talk more about the retrieval in my next video, and that's going to include the trigger shot and all of that fun stuff that triggers the process of retrieval. So yeah, I have to do my injections at the same time every evening within about an hour to a half an hour or so, and it usually takes about 10 to 15 minutes to get them all done. And yeah, it's a lot of medication. So hopefully all of that wasn't too confusing. It's certainly a lot to take in, and it can seem really overwhelming to look at all that and go, you have to inject all that stuff yourself? And yes I do. But hey, when you really want a family, you do what you have to do. Within a few days, you kind of become a pro at it. Yeah, I think that's a big enough info dump for you guys today. Thank you so much again for tuning in. Please feel free to share, to spread awareness, all that good stuff. Please continue to help people like me, people who are vulnerable, by continuing to socially distance, wear your masks, wash your hands. We're all in this together. Thanks everybody. See you next time.